Your Honor, he's just a mechanic. He can't give me the life I deserve. Angela said those words like a slap to my face. Her voice echoed in the courtroom, sharp and proud. She didn't even look at me. Just sat there next to her new man, all smug in his designer suit like he was already my replacement. I looked down at my grease-stained hands, clenched into fists on my lap. I wasn't ashamed of them, not one bit. But in that moment, I felt humiliated. Because everyone in that room saw me the way she wanted them to, just a mechanic. What they didn't know was the truth I had kept quiet for so long. I'm John, 32, and I need to get this off my chest. For the last 10 years, I've been fixing cars. I started learning in my uncle's garage when I was 16. After tech school, I got my certifications and landed a solid job in one of the best auto shops in town. I've always been proud of what I do. Cars today are complicated, computers on wheels, and I know how to make them run like new. It's honest work, and it paid my bills. That's how I met Angela. She drove in one day with her luxury sedan and an attitude bigger than the engine under the hood. This car needs premium care, she said, barely looking at me. But then she smiled, and man, I was gone. She was beautiful, confident, and dressed like she belonged in some fancy magazine. She worked at a big marketing firm downtown and carried purses that cost more than my monthly rent. I didn't know what she saw in me, but somehow, we started dating. My sister Evelyn warned me. John, she doesn't respect what you do, she said more than once. Don't let her dim your light. I should have listened. At first, things were good. Angela pretended to care about my work. She'd bring me lunch at the shop, ask about car parts, laugh with my coworkers. I thought we had something real. We got married 2 years later. Her dad, a big-time real estate guy, didn't seem thrilled, but he co-signed the loan on a modest house I'd been saving for. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Nothing flashy, but it was mine. I made every single payment myself. Angela pretended to love it, at first. Then came the snide remarks. It's just our starter home, she'd tell her friends. We'll upgrade soon. When we went to her office parties, she never introduced me as a mechanic. He owns an automotive business, she'd say, like it was embarrassing to be married to a man with oil under his nails. I could feel her slipping away. But I didn't expect what happened next. One night, I came home early and found her on the couch with another man. They didn't even try to hide it. John, you knew this wasn't working, she said, zipping up her dress. That was the end, or so I thought. She took me to court for the house. Claimed she deserved it since her dad co-signed. Said I couldn't support her lifestyle. Her lawyer mocked my job like it was some kind of curse. But the judge wasn't buying it. Mr. John, he said, turning to me, is it true you're a co-owner of JM Autotech? I nodded. Yes, Your Honor. I started the business 2 years ago. It's now the top-rated auto diagnostics and performance shop in the state. We also build and customize high-end vehicles. Angela's eyes widened. Her lover shifted uncomfortably. The judge continued, and you're the sole name on the mortgage. Yes, sir. I've made every payment myself. Suddenly, everything shifted. Angela looked stunned. Her mouth opened like she wanted to speak, but nothing came out. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. The judge ruled in my favor. I kept the house. I kept everything. Angela walked out of that courtroom empty-handed, just like her heart. She'd still swing by the shop now and then to get her car checked. Evelyn, my sister, didn't like it one bit. I don't trust the way she looks at you, she told me one afternoon as I wiped oil off my hands. Like you're some little project she's trying to fix. I laughed. Come on, Evie. She's just being supportive. No, John, Evelyn said, serious now. She looks at you like she's doing you a favor. I should have listened. The first year of our marriage wasn't terrible. We had our routines. I worked at the shop from early morning until evening, sometimes even pulling double shifts if a tough job came in. Angela worked 9 to 5, but always had late nights, client meetings, team dinners, networking events. She made them sound like a big deal. I never asked too many questions. I was busy too, quietly taking business courses at night. I wanted to grow, open my own place one day. I didn't tell her about those classes. She'd once laughed when I suggested trying to move up in my field. "You already fix cars," she said. "What more do you want?" Looking back, I should have seen it then, the way she stopped hugging me when I came home greasy. How she refused to hang around when I worked on my project car. How she'd wrinkle her nose like I stank of failure. Then she got promoted. That's when everything changed. She'd come home bragging about her new title, her big clients, her assistant. And she kept mentioning this guy, John, her new coworker. "John helped me land the pitch," she'd say. Or, "John thinks I should go for the regional director role." One night, she came home around 11 p.m. wearing a dress I'd never seen before. "Emergency meeting," she said. "Had to buy something decent last minute." I just nodded, but deep down, something twisted in my gut. That wasn't the kind of dress you wore to talk about ad campaigns. Around the same time, she started trash-talking our house. I'd worked my butt off to buy that house. Her dad co-signed the loan, but every payment came from me. Yet at dinners, they'd talk like I was squatting in his guest house. "You know," her father would say between bites, "if you moved to the Heights, Angela could really grow her network." "I like our neighborhood," I'd reply calmly. "Angela," she just nodded with her glass of wine, acting like I wasn't even there. Then came the Ferrari. A rich client brought it in. Most shops wouldn't even touch the thing. I had the training, though. I fixed it, polished it up, and made over $5,000 from that one job. "Angela," she told her friends, "John's been playing with some rich guy's toy car lately." No pride, no mention of how much that job helped us. I started noticing more things. Her phone always flipped screen down. Her laptop password suddenly changed. And then came the Christmas party. That one still stings. She invited me to some 5-star hotel downtown. I spent real money on a decent suit, polished my shoes, and even got a haircut. I wanted her to be proud to stand next to me. Instead, I spent the night standing alone. Angela floated around the room with her team. Men in expensive suits, women in heels I couldn't afford even if I tried. One guy actually asked me, "So, you know any decent mechanics around here?" Angela just laughed. "He's the best in town," she said, but it was the way she said it, like it was a punchline to a joke. That night, I drove us home in silence. She was on her phone the entire ride. The distance only grew after that. No more dinners together. No more checking in. Just work, phones, and cold silence between us. I should have seen it coming. But sometimes, when you're too busy trying to prove your worth, you miss the signs that someone already decided you aren't enough. What she didn't know was that I was enough. More than enough. "Oh, I thought you guys split up already," Amy said casually as I handed her the keys after her oil change. I froze. "What do you mean?" She blinked, confused. "Oh, Angela talks like she's been living alone. She brings John to all the company dinners and stuff. Most people at the office think they're, like, a thing." I didn't say a word. Just nodded, tight-lipped, and walked back into the garage. My hands were shaking. I'd suspected, sure, but hearing it from someone else. That hit different. That night, I sat in my truck outside the house for a long time before going in. My heart was pounding, but not with anger. It was disappointment. Deep, raw, exhausting disappointment. This was the woman I gave everything to. I'd been loyal, worked hard, made sacrifices, and she tossed it all for a man in a shiny suit. When I walked inside, Angela was on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing was wrong. "We need to talk," I said quietly. She didn't even look up. "About what?" I stepped closer. "About John. About the dinners. The Thursdays. The watch." Now she looked up. "Are you going through my mail now?" I didn't have to. The receipt was delivered here. She rolled her eyes. "Wow, you're really digging deep, huh? Are you cheating on me?" I asked, keeping my voice calm even though my chest was burning. "You're being paranoid again," she said coldly. "I can't even breathe without you jumping to conclusions. Just answer the question, Angela." She stood up, arms crossed. "Fine. You want the truth." Yes, I've been seeing someone. And guess what? He actually listens. He doesn't come home smelling like oil and sweat. He doesn't embarrass me in front of my friends. I just stood there, not yelling, not crying, just, done. I see, I said. So that's it then, Angela scoffed. You can keep the house. I don't care anymore. I've already moved on. I didn't say anything else. I just walked out of the room, went to the bedroom, and closed the door. It wasn't long before divorce papers were served. And oh, she came hard. Her lawyer painted me as some unambitious grease monkey, made it sound like Angela built everything while I just changed tires. At court, she sat next to John. Yeah, he actually came. Like he was proud of himself. They whispered and laughed like it was some game. Her lawyer asked the judge to grant her the house, claiming she deserved it because her father co-signed the loan and she'd grown beyond the relationship. I sat there silent, until the judge looked at me. Mr. Carter, do you have anything to say? I stood up and handed over a thick folder. Your Honor, this includes all the payment records for the house, from day one until now. Every dollar came from me. My bank statements, my W-2s, even my side job invoices. Not a single payment was ever missed. I also submitted my trade certifications and ownership documents. The judge flipped through the pages, eyebrows raised. You own a business? Yes, Your Honor. I incorporated 2 years ago. The shop is under my name now. I also completed a small business management course. Top of the class. Angela's face dropped. John stopped smiling. And the watch? The judge asked. Not mine. My birthday is in November. That receipt is dated July. The courtroom went quiet. Angela's lawyer stuttered something about emotional distress and miscommunication, but the damage was done. The judge ruled in my favor. I kept the house. She was denied alimony. Her lies had finally caught up with her. Outside the courthouse, Evelyn met me with a tight hug. Told you she wasn't worth it, she whispered. I nodded. Yeah, but now I finally believe it. She walked away, but her perfume lingered, expensive, sharp, foreign. It didn't even smell like her anymore. Everything about Angela had changed. Her walk, her voice, the way she never looked me in the eyes unless she was accusing me of something. The woman I married was long gone. What stood in front of me now was a stranger in high heels and secrets. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in the garage, surrounded by the familiar smell of oil and metal. My hands were black with grease, but they were steady. I stared at the folder I'd put together, printouts of bank statements, screenshots of texts between her and John, location histories, and receipts from places I'd never been. It was all there. All the proof I needed. The next morning, Evelyn walked into the shop and saw me looking like hell. You look like you wrestled your truck and lost, she said. I gave a weak smile. Feels like it. What happened now? She asked, dropping her bag and grabbing a stool. I slid the folder across the desk. She opened it, flipped through the pages, and her face slowly darkened. She really did all this? Evelyn whispered. And she's still coming home like nothing happened. She's gone before sunrise, back after I'm asleep. If I didn't know better, I'd think she's a ghost. Evelyn closed the folder and said, You need a lawyer. Like yesterday. I don't even know where to start. I do, she replied firmly. And he doesn't take crap from people like her. I nodded. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I was standing on solid ground again. I met with the lawyer Evelyn recommended the next day. His name was Marcus. Calm guy. Wore jeans with his blazer. Didn't treat me like an idiot when I told him I was a mechanic. After going through the evidence, he leaned back in his chair. This is more than enough, he said. We can prove adultery, financial manipulation, and misrepresentation. She's been playing a game, but you've been documenting every move. Is it enough to keep the house? I asked. He nodded. More than enough. And if you want, we can even go after her for emotional damages. I shook my head. I just want what's mine. And I want this over with. It all came to a head the day she came home and saw a stack of papers on the kitchen table. I was waiting. She walked in, tossed her purse on the counter, and paused. What's this? She asked. Divorce papers, I said, watching her carefully. She stared at them like they were poison. You're divorcing me. No, I said, standing. You divorced me a long time ago. I'm just signing the paperwork. Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked around the room like it might tell her what to say. I didn't mean for things to go this way, she mumbled. Did you mean to sleep with John? I asked. Did you mean to tell your coworkers we were separated? Did you mean to laugh about getting rid of dead weight? Her eyes narrowed. You went through my messages. I raised an eyebrow. I'm not the one who lied every day for a year. Angela picked up the papers with shaking hands. You'll regret this. No, I said, walking away. You will. Angela always thought I was too simple to see through her lies. Just a mechanic, right? Covered in grease, fixing engines while she played executive in her tight skirts and fake smiles. But I was watching, quietly, patiently. She thought I was asleep at the wheel. She had no idea I'd been taking notes. It all hit the fan the day I checked our joint account. Nearly empty. Gone. The money we'd saved for years, siphoned out like it meant nothing. I stared at the screen for a long time, heart pounding. When I asked her about it later, she didn't even flinch. I'm investing in my future, Angela said, sipping wine like I was just another boring inconvenience. I laughed. Our future, huh? No, she said, not even meeting my eyes. Mine. That was it. I called Marcus, the divorce lawyer Evelyn had found. He went through everything I'd collected, texts, credit card charges, GPS pings, and said I had a strong case. In our state, cheating counts in divorce court. He told me to play it cool until the papers were ready. 2 more weeks of acting like I didn't know she was living a double life. Each morning, I watched her dress up for work, spraying perfume that wasn't for me, fixing her hair like she was meeting someone special. I had to sit through dinners with her family, her father talking down to me, her brother cracking lazy jokes about my greasy hands. One night, her dad said, maybe you should just sign over part of the house to Angela, for security. I smiled. Why? You afraid she'll walk out on me? No, too close. His hands were on her waist. Angela's eyes widened. You're home. I said nothing. Just looked at her. At him. Get out, I said quietly. Both of you. Now. Angela's face twisted. This is my house too. You can't just. I paid for this house, I cut in, my voice calm but cold. You've got 30 minutes to pack a bag and leave. John slipped out fast, grabbing his coat, mumbling something about not wanting drama. Smart man. Angela, on the other hand, wasn't done performing. She screamed, called her father. 20 minutes later, their SUV came flying into the driveway. Her father jumped out first, followed by her brother Tommy. You can't throw my daughter out. Her father shouted. He tried pushing past me, and Tommy looked like he was ready to swing. I held up my phone, recording. You're trespassing, I said, stepping back just enough to make it clear I wasn't afraid. And I've already called the cops. Her father waved papers in my face. I co-signed the loan. This house is mine. I raised my voice. Your daughter's been cheating on me for months. I've got proof. Texts. Hotel receipts. Messages. You sure you want to do this out here? In front of the neighbors. People had already gathered. Curtains twitched. Phones out. Angela stood on the porch, pale as a sheet. That's when the police rolled up, 2 cruisers. You could see Tommy shrink instantly. I knew most of those officers. I fixed their patrol cars. One of them walked up to Angela's dad. Sir, I need you to step back from the property. But this is family business. Not tonight, it's not, the officer replied. Tommy's fists dropped to his sides. Her father stepped back. Angela, she just stood there, staring at me like I was someone else. Maybe she finally realized I'd been someone else all along. Not dumb, not blind, just patient, and done. The silence after the storm was strange. Angela packed her bags under police supervision, her steps loud against the wooden floor that used to feel like home. Her father and brother stood by their SUV, arms folded, faces sour. Not a word from them now. All their earlier bluster had drained away. At the door, Angela turned, face twisted with anger. You'll regret this, she hissed. You have no idea what you're doing. I didn't flinch. Actually, I said, for the first time in a long while, I know exactly what I'm doing. The door clicked shut behind her. Peace, real peace, settled over me like a blanket. The next morning, my lawyer filed the divorce papers. Angela got served at work, in front of her shiny glass-walled office. I heard she made a whole scene, tears, shouting, the works. Her coworkers had no idea what to believe. Last they'd heard, we were separated and I was the difficult husband holding her back. She played the victim like a pro. That same afternoon, her lawyer called mine, trying to negotiate. He can keep the house, they said, if he pays Angela a fair settlement. The number they threw out was laughable, nearly half my savings. They wanted the project car I'd been rebuilding for 5 years. My tool chest. Even my motorcycle. It was like they were shopping through my life. My lawyer didn't blink. Tell them to take a hike. That weekend, the lies kicked into high gear. Her family started spreading rumors, saying I was abusive, that I'd kept her trapped in a loveless marriage, that I changed the locks to punish her. A few of Angela's friends, who had never even spoken to me, started posting nasty comments online. Evelyn, my sister, was furious. I swear, I'm gonna respond to every single one of these posts, she snapped, scrolling through her phone. Let it go, I told her. They'll burn themselves out. Let them lie while I finish this the right way. Angela tried to come back to the house to collect more personal items. I'd already changed the locks. She left a voicemail, 5 minutes long, calling me petty and immature. Said I was ruining her future. I didn't reply. I just saved the message. More ammo, in case we needed it. The next few weeks were a blur of court letters and legal back and forth. Angela's team sent over this absurd list. The house, half my savings, my tools, my car, my business contacts. I joked to my lawyer, might as well ask for my socks, too. The first court date finally came. It was just a preliminary hearing, but Angela showed up like it was the grand finale. She brought the whole crew, her parents, John in a suit 2 sizes too tight, and a lawyer who looked like he belonged on one of those flashy legal dramas. They sat in a row, whispering and pointing at me like I was the help. My lawyer had told me exactly what to wear, clean shop uniform, name tag, ASE certification sewn in. I looked sharp, blue collar, professional, real. Not flashy, but solid. Angela took one look at me and snorted. He couldn't even dress up for court, she said loudly to John, like I wasn't right there. Let her laugh. Then her lawyer started talking. Claimed she'd supported my business. Said she did the accounting, helped with marketing, boosted our online presence. I nearly laughed out loud. She never even opened my books, I whispered to my lawyer. They've got nothing, he said quietly. Just keep calm. Then they moved to the house. Angela's dad walked up like he was doing God's work. I co-signed the loan, he said smugly. He couldn't have gotten the house without me. He made it sound like I was some loser living off handouts. Like I hadn't been the one working double shifts, saving every dollar, managing every payment. But I had the receipts. Literal and legal. Court wasn't just a fight, it felt like walking into a stage play where everyone else had rehearsed lies, and I was the only one reading the truth. Angela sat with her parents and John, her smug new man, across the courtroom. They looked confident. Too confident. Her lawyer acted like I was some high school dropout who got lucky marrying up. They spun this whole story about how Angela supported my career, sacrificed for my dreams, and that John was nothing but a work friend. My lawyer didn't flinch. He waited until they finished that fairy tale, then calmly dropped a stack of papers on the judge's table. Text messages between Angela and John. Hotel receipts from nights she claimed she was at corporate retreats. Even photos, Angela and John at a beach resort, smiling like they hadn't left behind a husband in a house she was secretly plotting to take over. Angela's mom stood up then. She gave this dramatic speech, like it was some movie monologue. My daughter deserves better than a man covered in grease every day. She has real dreams, a future. That prenup we asked for, it would have protected everyone from this mess. I almost laughed. The only mess here was the one they created. John leaned back in his chair, smirking. He even brought printouts of his salary and bonus statements, like he was applying for a mortgage. My lawyer glanced at them and slid them into our evidence pile without a word. During the break, I stepped outside to clear my head. But just as I passed by the corner of the hallway, I heard John whispering to Angela's brother. "We'll rip out that ugly workshop first. Make it a proper home gym. Maybe knock down that wall, open concept, you know." I froze. Her dad was on his phone nearby, talking fast. "Yeah, send over the renovation quote. He won't be there much longer." They were already making plans for my house like I was the tenant. Back in court, they tried to claim Angela had partial ownership of my tools. She helped select the equipment, her lawyer said confidently. My lawyer leaned in. "Can you name one tool she picked?" Silence. Angela shifted in her seat. "Well, not by name, but I supported the purchases in general." The judge raised his eyebrows. Then they brought up my night classes. Said I was emotionally absent. Neglecting my wife. That I chose school over our marriage. What they didn't say, Angela was with John on most of those nights. I knew it. I had the receipts. The final blow of the day came when Angela's lawyer presented their demands. They wanted the house because her dad co-signed, half of my business, my project car, compensation for emotional hardship caused by the years I worked on the car. It was ridiculous. The judge scheduled another session for next week. As I walked to my truck, Angela's dad caught up to me near the lot. "Look, we can settle this quietly," he said, holding up a manila envelope. "Give Angela what she deserves, sign the papers, and this all goes away." My lawyer, walking a few steps behind, held up his phone. "You're being recorded. Might want to rethink your threats." The man went pale. That night, I couldn't sleep. My tools, my garage, my dream car, my business, it all felt like it was slipping through my fingers. Even with all the evidence, all the recordings, I was scared. Because people like them, they knew how to twist things. My lawyer called the next morning. "Hang tight," he said. "We're not just defending. We're about to flip the whole thing." I had never felt fear like that before. The night before our second court hearing, I sat in my workshop long after midnight. The scent of oil and metal filled the space like a blanket. My tools, my lifeblood, surrounded me. I ran my hand over the hood of my project car, heart pounding. What if this is the last time I touch any of this? Angela didn't know how much I'd built behind the scenes. Her lies, her family's pressure, their social media pity party, it was all noise now. They thought they were winning. But they were walking into a storm they weren't ready for. Court day. I walked in with my head up. Not because I felt confident, but because I had to. My lawyer gave me a nod, calm and collected as ever. Angela's side came in like a parade. Her parents, her lawyer, and John, the so-called, just a friend, smirking like he already owned my house. They went first again. Angela's team trotted out one expert after another. A guy who claimed my shop was worth double its actual value, but had never even visited it. John talked about how hard it was for Angela to be married to someone who never understood her emotional needs. Then her dad gave this speech, trying to make it sound like he single-handedly saved my financial life by co-signing a loan. I just sat there, silent, watching, waiting. Then it was our turn. My lawyer stood and called our first witness. My old boss, Tom. Angela raised an eyebrow. John leaned back, arms crossed. Angela's dad actually yawned. But when Tom pulled out a folder and handed it to the court clerk, everything shifted. "This is the sales agreement," Tom said calmly. 6 months ago, I sold my entire shop to him. He's the new owner. You could hear the gasp from Angela's mom. John's smug face twitched. Angela froze. Tom kept talking. "He's not just some mechanic. He's been running that shop, handling the books, managing contracts. He didn't want anyone to know because he loves the work. That's who he is." My lawyer started stacking evidence on the judge's bench. Business class certificates, loan approval letters, with no co-signers, profit statements, photos of me signing the ownership papers 2 weeks before I found out about Angela and John. Asterisk. The business was purchased entirely with his savings and a business loan in his name, my lawyer explained. Angela had no part in it. No financial contribution, no involvement. The courtroom was dead silent. Then he dropped the final blow. "Your Honor, the business has ongoing contracts with luxury dealerships and a fleet service company. It's expanding to a second location. Estimated value, over $700,000. Angela stood up, flustered. But we were married when he bought it. I deserve half. The judge glanced at the date on the contract. My lawyer didn't miss a beat. The sale occurred before the affair was discovered. Funds were separate. There is no legal basis for shared ownership. Angela sat down slowly. She looked like someone had pulled the ground out from beneath her. By the time the judge asked Angela why she never knew about the sale of my shop if she was as involved in the business as she claimed, you could feel the air change in that courtroom. She looked stunned, scrambling for words. Her lawyer tried to twist the story, saying I had hidden assets. But my lawyer stood calm and confident, handing over proof that Angela wasn't just uninvolved, she was literally with John at a hotel the day I signed the ownership papers. That wasn't all. Her father tried to rescue something by bringing up the house loan, saying he was still a co-signer and deserved consideration. My lawyer didn't flinch. Your Honor, he said, sliding over a new set of papers, my client refinanced the home 2 months ago. Full approval on his own. No co-signer required. The judge raised his eyebrows. Angela's father said nothing. He just stared at the document like it had betrayed him. When court broke for lunch, all hell broke loose in the hallway. Angela's voice cut through the noise. You were supposed to check his finances better. She screamed at her lawyer. I thought you said he was broke. John was nowhere to be found. Vanished. Like he'd sensed the money train had crashed and quietly slipped out the side door. Angela's brother paced back and forth, barking into his phone. Her mother stood in the middle of it all, trying to keep the family from falling apart. The best part, Angela's dad lost it. Red-faced and furious, he shouted at their lawyer, you should have hired a damn investigator. How did you miss the whole sale? My lawyer, bless him, recorded the entire meltdown on his phone. Could be useful, he whispered to me. Just in case they get any bright ideas. When we walked back into court, everything had changed. Angela's tone, her posture, even the look in her eyes, it was all different. Now she was sobbing in front of the judge. I always believed in his dreams, she sniffled. I turned down better jobs to stay and support him. The judge looked like he'd heard it all before. Her lawyer tried to spin one last play. Angela's emotional support was crucial to the success of the business. She sacrificed to help him build what he has. We request compensation. Before he could finish, my lawyer calmly played a video. Angela laughing with John, calling me a grease monkey, and saying she was embarrassed to be married to someone who worked with his hands. The room went quiet. Then another surprise. A man in a suit walked in. John's lawyer. He stood up and spoke clearly. My client, John, had no knowledge of the deeper financial aspects of this situation. He wishes to formally distance himself from any financial involvement with Ms. Angela. Angela's face crumbled. Her so-called future gone in a flash. The final ruling. Music to my ears. Angela got nothing from the business. Not a cent. The judge made it clear, she couldn't claim a stake in something she didn't even know existed. The house was mine fully, legally, without any strings. All she got was her car, which was already in her name, and a small support payment for 3 months. That was it. Angela completely broke down, yelling about how unfair it all was, how she wasted the best years of her life. The judge gave her a cold stare. One more outburst, and I'll hold you in contempt of court. Her mom practically dragged her out of the room. After that, Angela's dad tried to trash my name in the local business circles. But it didn't work. Word had already spread. In fact, the business community respected me more. I was one of them now, a shop owner who built something from scratch and never backed down. Some of them even started referring luxury clients to my shop just to support me. I'd get calls like, hey, I heard you're the guy who doesn't just own the place, you actually know what you're doing. That's when I realized I hadn't just won the case. I'd earned something bigger, respect. As for John, remember how he ghosted that day in court? Well, a few months later, I heard Angela tried to move in with him. He turned her away. Word was, he blocked her number the same week the judgment came out. Guess her charm wore off once the dollar signs disappeared. Turns out, John's company didn't mess around with workplace relationships. Someone, definitely not me, sent HR the court papers showing he was involved with Angela while she was still married. The result: John got demoted and shipped off to a tiny branch 3 states away. Angela tried to hold on to her job, but the whole scandal destroyed her reputation. Remember that big client she handled with John? They asked for a new team, refusing to work with her anymore. Eventually, she quit and even tried to sue the company for creating a hostile work environment. That didn't go anywhere. Meanwhile, my shop is booming. I opened the second location I'd planned for months ago. I hired great mechanics who actually love the work and respect that I'm not just the boss, I'm one of them. Sleeves rolled up, grease on my hands. Angela's dad. He tried to save face by bragging he mentored me. He even claimed credit for my success. No one bought it. Business owners saw the court documents where he tried to steal my house, and his reputation took a hit. Turns out, people don't like working with someone who tries to cheat their own son-in-law. And the house. I finished renovating it myself. Added a huge new garage, twice the size of the old one. Sometimes I catch Angela driving by slowly. I wonder if she thinks about all the plans she had for the place. Her brother still brings his car to other shops and pays way more for worse service. Last month, I got a long email from Angela. She wrote how sorry she was, how she never meant to hurt me. Said she realized John wasn't who she thought he was, especially after he was transferred without telling her. She wanted to talk. I didn't respond. My sister Evelyn keeps telling me I should write a book about all this drama. But right now, I'm too busy running my shops and doing what I love, working on cars. That's the best revenge. I still wear my work uniform most days. Could wear suits if I wanted, but I'm proud of who I am. The mechanics respect me because I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty with them. Just last week, I was under a car doing an inspection when some big clients showed up to sign papers for a new contract. Some of Angela's old friends, the ones who used to mock my job, now come to my shop asking for special treatment. They act like they never laughed at me for being a mechanic. But I treat them just like anyone else. No petty revenge needed. Success speaks for itself. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real-life dramas and wins, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything.